All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Clay. I am in my hotel room in Portland, Oregon. I just checked in maybe about an hour ago, so I've been just kind of relaxing a little bit, charging up my phone, and just basically getting ready to come live here so I can fulfill on my promise to check in with you guys today. So, I'm here. Tomorrow I'm going to be at a workshop, just adjusting the tripod here just a little bit so I don't feel like I'm having to squat down to look at you. Um, I'm going to be at a workshop tomorrow that's being held by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I've been kind of like on this weird spiritual journey since the beginning of the year. Maybe I'll tell you more about that later on once I actually get something a little bit substantial to tell you about. But if you like what we're doing here, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you can get notifications next time we go live. And let's hope that this Wi-Fi at the hotel is going to be strong enough to keep this live stream going pretty well. Also, if you like what we're doing here, you'll probably also love our book, Be Loved for Who You Are, over at modernlove.life/book. All right, Lance is here. Good to see you, Lance. Um, yeah, seems we're working. Seems this is working, even on a strange hotel Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, one other announcement before we go ahead and get started here, and that is that we have finally been approved by iTunes in the podcast store. So if you want to get these videos in audio format, you can just have them like directly, downloaded to your phone or whatever you listen to podcasts on. I know that is probably more convenient for some people, and if you're a podcast kind of person, go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description of this video right now. I set it up before I went live. I'm doing my due diligence here. Okay, so you can go ahead and find that. You can also find links to like the Facebook page, my Instagram page. I haven't actually done anything on Instagram. I honestly don't know how to use Instagram, but I'll figure it out eventually. Anyway, today's video from this glorious hotel room, which is, the lighting's pretty awful, so you'll have to forgive me for that, but gotta make do with what I can. Anyway, today's video is about letting go of your ex. And you guys may not know this, but I actually used to live in Portland, Oregon, where I'm at right now. And today, as I got in, I've really only been hanging out and around in the downtown area, which isn't where I used to live. But still, I'm feeling like a lot of nostalgia being back here, just going around and seeing some of the old places that I used to go, seeing some of the old buildings that I used to remember that have been torn down and now they're either new buildings, they're construction sites or whatever, seeing some old businesses that I used to like or love that have gone out of business or replaced by new things and all that. And it really just has me thinking about letting go of past relationships, letting go of the past, and letting go of the memory that you have about who your ex is. Because through working with a lot of people, I know that a lot of people who want to work things out with their ex or who are going through a breakup have this really nostalgic sense about what you may call the good old days, what you may call the times when the relationship was good and great and all that. And that's fine, but you can't try to recreate those good old days. You can't try to make your current reality into what used to be in the past. Kind of like how even if I were to move back here to Portland, Portland wouldn't be the same. A lot of the places that I used to go have gone out of business. They've been replaced or they've been renovated or remodeled or something. A lot of the people that I used to know and hang out with, they have, left. They've moved on. They've went on to start new chapters of their life, either here in Portland or somewhere else in some other city or some other country. And, there's new things that have been coming up, new things that have moved in here, and it's just not the same. Sure, there are some elements that are still the same, but it's definitely not the same Portland that I used to live in. And I can get like super nostalgic looking back at the time here that I spent in Portland, going by, oh, hey, I remember that coffee shop. I remember when I wrote, one of those Amazon Kindle books that I have on Amazon over at that coffee shop. Or, oh, I remember when Mika, my wife, and I used to, talk about relationships and plan out our course, the X Solution program, back at that little pub over there. I can go ahead and do that, and that's fine. You can appreciate the past. You can appreciate what you had with your ex, but to try to bring the past, to try to cling to the past, and to try to ignore the fact that time is barreling forward and that things are changing and that your ex is changing, it's not going to be very resourceful for you. And in order to let go of your ex, in order to let go truly, you have to see them for who they are right now, not as who they were when you were in a relationship with them. I don't care if you broke up last week or 10 years ago or some period of time in between then. Your ex is not the same person that they were when you were together. Just simply the fact of them breaking up with you caused them to have an emotional response that has caused them to start to change into a different person. You can even see this, if you're in a relationship right now, or if you have a friend that you see like pretty much every day, like maybe a roommate or something, where, you talk to them in the morning and maybe they're in a great mood, and then you come home at the end of the day and they might be in a bad mood because of something that happened during the day. And if you keep interacting with them as if they're the happy person that they were that morning, then you're just not going to be able to meet them where they're at emotionally. And so when it comes to moving on from your ex, when it comes to letting go of a relationship, when it comes to putting your past behind you, you have to see your ex as the person that they are right now, today. And that's fine if you still want to be in a relationship with the person that they are right now, today, but you have to not base it on the past. You have to base it off of who they are right now. And that's fine if you don't want to be in a relationship with your ex as they are right now. But you can't try to drag the past into the future or into the present. Otherwise, you're just going to create emotional suffering for yourself. And so, whether you end up getting back together or not, whether you end up moving on and dating other people or seeing other people or having a new relationship with somebody else, it's important to stay focused on what is happening in the present moment rather than getting stuck on the past, rather than getting stuck on what used to be, rather than getting stuck on yesterday. Because when you do have a relationship, it's going to happen now. It's going to happen right now. And right now, your ex is a certain type of person. They're having a certain type of emotional experience. And if you are going to have a relationship, you need to have a relationship with that person as they are right now, not who they used to be. If you are going to move on, you have to see your ex as the person that they are right now. Maybe somebody who's incompatible with you, maybe somebody who has different values than you, maybe somebody who is doing something that you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who does, like, cheating or I hear about people whose exes, they go through this like bizarre transformation personality wise, where, they're like a decent, good standing person, and they go through this breakup, and then suddenly they're like really into drugs and like casual sex and stuff like that. And you have to accept them as they are now, not as who they used to be. You can't try and change them and sculpt them into who they used to be. Just like, I'll never get back some of my favorite cafes here in Portland, or some of my favorite little restaurants here in Portland, or some of my friends that I used to hang out with here in Portland who have gone on to live in other cities and do other things, or who have went on to who maybe still live here, but they've gone on to the next chapter of their life, whether that's working at a new job or being parents or something like that. And you can absolutely appreciate what you had in the past. You absolutely should appreciate the good things that you had in the past. But those are just chapters from the past. Just like how you can't go back and be in high school again unless you're like 17 years old and in high school right now. But you can't go back and be in high school again as, in my case, a 36-year-old man. You can't go back and be like a freshman in college again. You can't go back to these other chapters of your life, but you can look back on them and appreciate them for what they were, and just accept that, yeah, that was a time, and I loved it. I loved every moment with that person. I loved every moment in that relationship. But like everything, everything that has a beginning must have an end. And that relationship had an end. That person had an end as they changed and became who they currently are. And they are who they are now. And maybe that's for better, maybe that's for worse. Maybe you can get back together with them and have a great relationship. But it has to be based off of who they are, not who they used to be. So, yeah, that's what's been on my mind since I got into Portland, Oregon this morning in this luxurious hotel room. If you're just joining me, you may be wondering what this is. It's a hotel room. I'm in Portland, Oregon for the weekend, going to a workshop tomorrow with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Going to be checking that out, seeing more about what he's all about, and seeing how that maybe might apply to my own life and my own personal journey that I've been going through this year. But yeah, that's what's going on here. Anyway, guys, let's see what y'all are talking about in the comment section. I noticed some comments coming in. Hope the quality of this is pretty good. It's always kind of hit or miss with hotels. Let's see. Hi, hello. Hey there, everybody. Clay is back. Yes, I am back. Someone deleted their message. Just started a new job today. Super excited for the promotion, and my ex seems to be impressed. Oh, wow. That's great to hear, Lance. Congratulations on the new job. I hope it's a great job that you're super excited about, and that's really something that really lights you up. Noon says the wallpaper is worse. I don't know. Can you guys see the wallpaper over there? Kind of like teal wallpaper. I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. It's a hotel. I guess people. I'm not sure if you're saying that you agree with what I was saying at the moment, or if you agree that the wallpaper is awful. But thanks for commenting. I want to go with my ex, but he is in the same friend group as me and goes to the same school as me. I can't escape him or his new relationship, and it is hell. Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough when you have friends in common with your ex, and maybe you're in the same school or same workplace or something, and you just end up seeing each other often. But you know, like I said, you have to come to terms with the fact that that was a chapter that happened. Sure, maybe externally a lot of things are still the same when it comes to the life that you live and the friends that you have and the school that you go to, but emotionally things have changed a lot. And if you can be okay with that, if you can be okay with where he's at right now and where you're at right now, and not try to fill up your future with the past. Oftentimes people try to do that. They try to fill up their future and their present with the past. And as long as and when you do that, you're really not giving yourself a whole lot to actually step into in the present moment and into your actual future. So, to the degree possible, try to leave the past in the past, and that will allow you to create a future right now. And I know it's super hard when you have to see him every day, when maybe you even have to see him and his new, I'm guessing, girlfriend on a regular basis. I know that really sucks. But if there was one thing I would recommend to you, it's probably actually to pick up some form of meditation so that you can learn to just watch your thoughts, not associate with them, and to just let them float past you without having to latch onto them. I actually spent a week living in a Buddhist monastery in Thailand back in 2015 for a meditation thing, and we meditated pretty much all day long. And that's really one of the things that I got from it, is that you can have your thoughts happen, just like how anybody who has eyes, the natural result of having eyes is seeing, the natural result of having ears is hearing. The natural result of having a mind is to have thoughts. But that doesn't mean you have to attach yourself to those thoughts. It doesn't mean you have to hold on to them. It doesn't mean you have to get sucked into them. And if you can start to do that through some sort of meditative process, even just like the simple meditative stuff that you've probably heard a million times, like, just close your eyes, focus on your breath, let your thoughts go by, don't attach yourself to them. That's probably going to help you. It's probably going to help you a lot. Um, and yeah, just be okay with the fact that the future is not the past. Yes, the two of you may have been together in the past, but he's not the same man. You're not the same woman, I'm guessing. Um, just like how I'm not the same person that I was when I lived here in Portland, and Portland is not the same Portland that I remember when I was living here. But that's okay. And if the two of you do get back together, it has to be based off of who you are right now. If you do move on, it has to be because you recognize him as who he is right now, not as the man that you fell in love with. So yeah, I hope that helps you out. Let's see what else people are talking about. I really hope that this live stream doesn't glitch up like it did the other day. I'm really kind of worried about the Wi-Fi here. We'll see how it goes. Where do we leave off? I love these live videos. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to get some feedback like that. I really enjoy it too. It's a whole lot easier for me than having to do the pre-recorded ones. Plus, I can do it live and get feedback from you live, and I can talk to you guys and interact with you without having to like wait days or weeks for the editing to happen. And I'm still like in the same mood, the same emotional place where I'm at, where I'm making the video, as opposed to when I have to wait several days and then like the mood is past and I'm like, what was I saying back then? What was I feeling back? I don't even remember. He's definitely different, but I know that it is going to be a new, fresh start. Yeah. Like that's the thing. If you want to get back together with your ex, you cannot see it as the same relationship. You cannot see it as just a continuation of where you left off. It has to be something new, something fresh, something where the two of you can be present with who you are right now. And this is really important too, because it's going to stop you from going into those patterns, habits, and routines that cause the relationship to go sideways in the first place. If you can both stay present and both stay involved, even if the breakup was mostly because of your ex's behavior or whatever, if you stay present, that can be enough to disrupt the dynamic so that you can maybe like call him out and say, hey, I noticed that you're starting to get really stressed out, and last time you got really stressed out, you didn't deal with emotions in the best way and you ended up cheating or something like that, right? I mean, obviously say it in a tactful way in the right context and all that, but you can bring that to their attention. What else are you guys talking about? Clay, I am miserable. I broke up with my fiance a week ago. Oh wow, that's intense. I broke up with my fiance a week ago. This was our second breakup. Since I am dumper, do I go into no contact or do I tell him I'm sorry? Okay, so number one, you broke up with him for a reason. I do not know what that reason is, but you need to get clear on that reason, okay? And if that reason is still a viable thing that is bothering you, that is not working for you, then you need to really question whether or not you really want to get back together with him. Because, again, you cannot come back to the same relationship and expect it to be just a continuation of where things left off. So you need to look at that. You need to say, okay, why do I want him back? Whereas a week ago, I wanted to end things. What's different? What's different? What has changed? And you have to accept him for who he has become in this past week, because he is not the same man that he was a week ago when you broke up with him. He's been going through a journey of sorts in his own way. And I don't know what that journey may look like. He may be like really depressed. He may be on the rebound. He may be, doing some like weird, crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know. But you got to meet him where he's at emotionally, and you have to decide if who he is right now, is a man that you want to marry. still, or be in a relationship with at least. And yeah, that's really important. You also want to ask yourself why the breakup happened, why you want to get back together after only 1 week. Like, what has changed? What's going to be different if you do get back together? And just ask yourself these hard questions and get to the root of it. But yeah, I mean that's intense. Ending a engagement a week ago. I don't know what the story is, but I hope that you're handling it pretty well. Um. Oh yeah, you. Someone says they always wanted to try those silent weekend retreats. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were doing it in Thailand, so it was a little bit different than I imagine it may have been if it was in the United States or some other country. It was on this island called Kopangan, um, like super hot, and I mean it was like very sparse conditions where we we basically just slept on a like flat hard mattress. We had to use squatty potties. We had to shower with lukewarm water, I guess. I mean it was pretty much cold water, but it was really hot there, so it was like lukewarm water. There are all kinds of critters everywhere, lizards and uh, believe it or not, wild monkeys. We couldn't make eye contact with them, otherwise they'd see it as an aggression sign and like charge at us. There are all kinds of like spiders, just like enormous bugs and everything, and it was really crazy. But I found the whole process actually really enjoyable. Mika had a really interesting experience. Um, we had roommates, and we were like separated men and women. Um, and Mika's roommate actually ended up being this woman who I guess has the power to actually read people's minds. I mean, like I don't know how all that works, but um, once the silence was broken, she was like actually talking to people like, "Oh yeah, I could read your mind. You were thinking about this and that," and like, "What? How do you know that?" And it was pretty crazy and weird, and I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, apparently that's a thing. And yeah, I would be open to trying the silent retreat in the United States someday once maybe things cool down a little bit on the whole parent front. But I'd be curious to see if that's any different than the thing we did in Thailand. Okay, where did we leave off? Just like an ESP, Exolution program, not the mind reading, but just like an Exolution program, focus on the present, then not the focus on the present them, not the past them. You have both changed since splitting up. It's a new relationship that means new chances and experiences. Embrace it if you are compatible. Yeah, totally. I would absolutely agree with that. I can't see an end after 26 years. I don't know what you mean by end. Like you're you're going through a breakup with an end of a 26-year relationship, and you're having a hard time seeing that relationship is over. Well, I mean, here's the truth: is that every moment of every day, your partner is becoming a new person. So your partner has become a new person every moment of the day for the past 26 years. And you may not have realized it, which is sometimes how these like really long relationships or marriages end up with, suddenly somebody just leaves out of the blue, or it's like, well, how'd that happen? I thought I knew you. We'd been together for so long. And what happens is that, like when you don't update your software, you just kind of start drifting apart a little bit at a time. Like maybe there's like 1 degree of separation, and at first it's not that much, but then as the years and time goes by, it just gets wider and wider and wider. That can kind of happen. So it's really important, even if you're in a relationship right now, is to meet your partner in the present moment where they're at. Like I was saying, even if you have a roommate, they might be happy in the morning when you talk to them over coffee or something, but then at the end of the day, when you both get home from work, they could be in a lousy mood because of something that happened. And they've, in essence, stepped into a different emotional way of being, into a different emotional experience since then. And you have to meet them where they're at if you want to actually connect with them. Let's see if we can do a couple more questions here. Looks like the live stream is working fine. Glad to hear that. You never know with these hotels. Uh, what? Mind reader? That's scary. Yeah, totally weird. Like as soon as it's like we hung out at the monastery for I don't even remember like a couple days after the silence ended, and so I actually kind of felt a little bit weird around the mind reading woman. I was like, oh wow, like am I thinking like, and it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, I have to not think negative thoughts about her because she's gonna notice it. She's gonna be able to tell, and then suddenly my mind starts to like veer towards like these just bad things about like and I'm like no can't think that and it's like one of those really weird things and I don't know if she could pick it up or not. I don't know, but it sure made me feel weird. That's for sure. No, I can't see being without him. That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. It can be tough, but you gotta stay in the present moment. You gotta see where he is right now, and sure, he might be holding on to a lot of resentment or a lot of anger at just your disconnect from each other for such a long period of time. I've seen that a lot in couples that have been together for a long time and they're having problems. Um, and if you gotta just meet him in whatever frustration he's going through, whatever even resentment or anger or whatever. And it can be tough, but the important thing is that you really listen to him, really meet him where he's at. I think a lot of people would instinctively try to go on the defense and try and say, "Oh no, I wasn't like that. During that time that you're complaining about, I was actually this way, or you said that I did that, but really I did this, or something like that." But when you do that, you're not really hearing the other person out, and when you can just hear them out and say something like, yeah, that must have been really tough. I can understand why you must have felt such disappointment in me thinking that I did that, or things like that. If you can just say things of that nature, you can let them express that pain that they're holding on to. And once they release it, once they express it, suddenly they're much more open to actually connecting with you. They're much more open to hearing you out because you have let them say something that they've been most likely bottling up for a very long time. And if you can just accept what they're saying, not just, agree with it, but just accept and acknowledge and appreciate what they are saying without trying to change them, then they can kind of spend that built up energy to the point where it's exhausted. And from there, that's when they can actually start to hear you out. That's when they can actually start to connect with you. That's when they can actually start to let their guard down. Okay. So if that's what's going on between you and your partner, and you've been together for 26 years, then that's really what I'd recommend is to just listen to him, listen to his frustrations and his complaints without trying to go on the defensive, without trying to prove him wrong, or prove yourself right, or anything like that. There would be a time when you can explain things from your point of view, but you want to let him vocalize his frustrations and pain first, so that he can spend that, so that he can exhaust that, and then he can actually be open and receptive to hearing you out. See if we can get one more question before we hit the magic 30-minute mark, where people seem to get upset with me for posting videos that are too long. Clay, always good to see you. Well, welcome back, Helen. I recognize your name and your green hearts. What are people saying? Wish I could watch more. I'm at work. You must probably be in some other time zone other than the United States. Either that or you have some strange job, like, I don't know, working at a restaurant or something like that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it totally blows my mind that I can just, push a couple buttons on my phone and suddenly I'm talking to people all over the world. That's kind of mind blowing when you think about it. Definitely not something that was available when I was growing up. Uh, I like the new background. Nice for a change. Thank you very much, Clay. Yeah, at a hotel in Portland, Oregon, going to a workshop tomorrow. So just hanging out in Portland by myself without my wife or daughter. It's actually my first time being away from my daughter since she was born, and like I had all these like weird limiting beliefs and hesitations about leaving them behind, and I was like going like super like protective mode. I was like, "Oh, do you want me to make some dinner for you so that you can like just heat it up and you don't have to like worry about food or something like that?" And I was like totally going over the deep end. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna after this live stream is done, I'm just gonna go get something to eat myself. And then I'm probably going to be back here at the hotel to read my daughter a Good Night Moon before her bedtime. I have the whole book memorized. I mean, it's only 150 words or so, but it's kind of our little tradition. We read Good Night Moon before bed. Somebody's posting like a million hearts. One of them happens to be purple. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I didn't expect so many people to be here on a Friday night. I imagine you probably had like cool things to do on Friday night, unlike me. But yeah, thanks so much. If you like this video, if you like these live streams, please give me a thumbs up. And yeah, once again, we do have the iTunes approval. So if you can go into the description for this video, and you can subscribe on iTunes if you're like more of a podcast kind of person. You can listen to these videos as podcasts now. We finally got the iTunes approval. And once again, if you would like to check out our book, it's over at modernlove.life/book. Anyway, I will talk to you later, and I'll let you know how this whole Joe Dispenza thing works out, this workshop I'm going to tomorrow. But thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are watching this live or whether you are watching the replay of this recorded video. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you